Stress. It's a feeling that nearly every one of us experiences at some point in life. Whether it comes from the demands of our work, the challenges of relationships, or just the constant pressure of daily living, stress can feel like an overwhelming burden that we carry. But what if there was a solution to managing this stress, a solution that has been around for more than 2,500 years? I'm talking about the wisdom of Buddhism, a profound tradition that offers powerful teachings on how we can understand and manage stress in our lives. Today, I want to talk to you about something that can truly change the way we approach the challenges life throws at us: Buddhist wisdom for emotional control and maintaining calm. You see, stress is not just an external experience, it takes a toll on us mentally and physically. It can manifest as anxiety, frustration, or even anger. It affects our health, disrupts our peace of mind, and can lead us to make rash decisions or lose control of our emotions. But what if I told you that stress doesn't have to control you? What if you could learn how to respond to stress with calmness and clarity, rather than being swept away by its overwhelming tide? In the teachings of Buddhism, stress is understood through the concept of dukkha. This term is often translated as suffering, but it also refers to the sense of dissatisfaction and unease that we experience as a result of life's inevitable challenges. The Buddha taught that dukkha is a natural part of human existence. In fact, it is considered one of the Four Noble Truths, which are the foundation of Buddhist teachings. The first truth states that suffering, or dukkha, is an inherent part of life. The second truth explains the cause of suffering: attachment. We suffer because we hold on to things, people, situations, outcomes, expecting them to bring us lasting happiness. When they inevitably change or slip away, we experience pain. The good news is that the Buddha didn't stop at identifying suffering, he also offered a path to end it. This path, known as the Noble Eightfold Path, is a guide to living with wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. It's a path that teaches us how to manage our emotions, maintain equanimity, and find lasting peace, even amidst the most challenging circumstances. By practicing mindfulness, right intention, right speech, and right action, we can gradually reduce the hold that stress has over us and begin to live more fully in the present moment. So, how does this apply to stress in our modern lives? Let's break it down. Stress often arises from our tendency to resist what is happening in the moment. We don't like how things are, and so we push against them. We worry about what's going to happen next, or we dwell on past mistakes. But in Buddhism, we are taught the power of acceptance and mindfulness, of observing what's happening without judgment or resistance. By learning to observe our emotions without attaching to them, we can maintain a sense of peace, even in the midst of chaos. Imagine this: you're in a stressful situation. Maybe you have a deadline at work, or an argument with a loved one, or you're simply overwhelmed by everything on your plate. Instead of reacting impulsively, you take a moment to pause and breathe. You observe the tension in your body and the whirlwind of thoughts in your mind. But instead of being consumed by them, you simply acknowledge them for what they are: temporary. You don't have to let them define you or control your behavior. This is the heart of mindfulness, a practice that trains us to create space between stimulus and response. The beauty of this practice is that it's available to us at any moment. We don't need a special place or time to practice mindfulness. It's about integrating awareness into everything we do, whether we're walking, eating, working, or having a conversation. By practicing mindfulness, we can reduce the impact of stress on our minds and bodies, allowing us to respond with clarity and calmness, rather than reacting impulsively. And then there's meditation, another key practice in Buddhism that helps us cultivate emotional regulation and inner peace. Meditation allows us to train our minds to focus and calm the constant chatter of thoughts that often fuel our stress. Through regular practice, we develop greater emotional resilience and learn to respond to life's challenges with equanimity. It's like building a mental muscle, one that can help us remain grounded and centered, no matter what's going on around us. Let's take a moment to reflect on this. How often do we let stress dictate our mood and actions? How often do we react to situations without thinking, allowing stress to cloud our judgment and decisions? In Buddhism, we are encouraged to cultivate the practice of pausing before we react, to give ourselves the space to choose our responses wisely. When we do this, we can respond with compassion, wisdom, and clarity, rather than being swept away by the current of stress. Buddhism teaches that true freedom comes from releasing attachment to outcomes, from letting go of the need to control every situation. When we accept life as it is, impermanent, ever-changing, and sometimes unpredictable, we can find peace in the midst of chaos. We don't need to be controlled by stress, because we can learn to control our responses and find calm amidst the storm. So, as we move forward in today's video, let's dive deeper into these practices and explore how we can apply Buddhist wisdom to reduce stress, find emotional freedom, and cultivate inner peace. Together, we can learn how to master our minds and live more peacefully, regardless of the circumstances. This is the path to true freedom, the path to a life lived with mindfulness, compassion, and balance. Let's begin this journey together. Stress isn't something new. It's been with humanity for as long as we've existed. The challenges of life, the pressures we face, the uncertainty, and the constant need to chase after things, we've always experienced these burdens. But what's fascinating is that the Buddha, over 2,500 years ago, was the first to really identify stress as an integral part of our existence. He recognized it in a way that no one else had at the time, and his insights continue to guide us today. So, what did he say about stress, and how can his teachings help us in the modern world? In Buddhism, stress is deeply tied to something very fundamental: our attachments, desires, and expectations. We are constantly reaching for things. We attach ourselves to material possessions, to relationships, to status, and even to our own ideas of who we should be. We long for perfection in our work, in our lives, and in the world around us. But here's the catch: the more we attach ourselves to these fleeting things, the more stress we invite into our lives. Why? Because these things are impermanent. Everything changes. Everything eventually slips away, and when it does, we are left with a sense of loss, frustration, and, inevitably, stress. The Buddhist teachings on the Four Noble Truths shed light on this. The first truth acknowledges something we all know: suffering, or dukkha, is an inherent part of life. We experience it in many forms, stress being one of the most common. But the Buddha didn't just stop there. He went deeper and explained why we suffer. The second truth reveals the cause of our suffering: craving and attachment. We suffer because we desperately hold on to things, whether it's the desire for wealth, the yearning for approval, or the wish for eternal happiness. We want things to stay the same, to give us what we need, but when life doesn't meet our expectations, stress and suffering follow. Now, you might be wondering if attachment causes stress. Is it possible to live without attachment? Is it even realistic to let go of everything we hold dear? It sounds difficult, and it is. But here's the key: the Buddha's message wasn't about living without love or without desire. Instead, it was about understanding our relationship with these things. It's about recognizing that attachment, when it becomes an obsession, when it holds us hostage, can lead to pain and suffering. It's about finding a way to live with awareness and detachment, allowing us to appreciate life and its blessings without being overly dependent on them for our happiness. The good news is that the Buddha didn't leave us hanging. He offered a way out, a way to break free from the cycle of stress and suffering. That way is through the practices of mindfulness, meditation, and detachment. Let's dive into each one of these practices and see how they can practically help us navigate the stress we experience in our modern lives. Mindfulness is perhaps the most powerful tool we have in dealing with stress. It's the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment, without attachment, and without distraction. When we're mindful, we become aware of what's happening in our minds, our bodies, and our surroundings. We don't rush ahead to the next thought, the next task, or the next desire. Instead, we allow ourselves to be fully present, to experience life as it unfolds, without trying to change it or control it. This practice of mindfulness helps us break free from the constant cycle of stress. It helps us realize that many of the things we stress over are often just passing thoughts, and by observing them without judgment, we give ourselves the freedom to let them go. Meditation goes hand in hand with mindfulness. In fact, meditation is one of the most effective ways to cultivate mindfulness. It's the practice of sitting in stillness, focusing our attention, and training our minds to let go of distractions. Meditation allows us to develop greater control over our thoughts and emotions. It teaches us how to calm the storm inside our minds so that we can approach life with a sense of inner peace, no matter what's going on around us. When we meditate regularly, we strengthen our ability to remain calm and centered in the face of stress. We become less reactive to life's challenges and more proactive in our responses. And then there's detachment. Now, this doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent to the world. It's not about cutting off relationships or abandoning our goals. Detachment in the Buddhist sense means letting go of the need to control or possess things. It means not allowing our happiness to be dependent on things that are fleeting or temporary. When we let go of this attachment, we free ourselves from the fear of losing those things, and we can approach life with a sense of openness and peace. Think about it for a moment. How often do we stress about things we can't control? How often do we become anxious or frustrated when things don't go the way we expect? The Buddha's teachings offer a profound perspective. Our stress often comes from holding on too tightly to things, trying to control outcomes, or desiring something that's beyond our reach. When we let go of that need for control, we can experience a sense of freedom, a freedom that comes from accepting things as they are and not as we wish them to be. So, what can we take away from all of this? The Buddha's teachings on stress are not just ancient wisdom, they are incredibly relevant to our lives today. By practicing mindfulness, meditation, and detachment, we can break the cycle of stress and suffering. We can learn to live with more peace, less attachment, and greater awareness. We don't have to be victims of our stress. Instead, we can take control of our minds and our emotions, finding calmness even in the midst of life's storms. Let's remember that stress is not the problem. It's our attachment to it, our resistance to it, that causes suffering. The Buddha shows us a different way, a way that leads to freedom, peace, and emotional control. By understanding these teachings and integrating them into our lives, we can find the calm we've been searching for. And that, my friends, is the path to true peace. When we talk about stress, we often focus on the external factors that cause it: work pressure, personal issues, financial struggles. But have we ever stopped to consider how much of it comes from within? In today's fast-paced world, we often feel overwhelmed, pulled in different directions, and unable to find peace. But what if I told you that Buddhism offers practical, proven tools that can help you manage your stress and cultivate inner calm? Let's explore some of these powerful practices. First, let's talk about mindfulness. Mindfulness is all about being present fully, completely, and without distraction in the moment. It's easy to get lost in our thoughts, overwhelmed by what might happen next or stuck in regret about what has already happened. Mindfulness helps us break free from this cycle. Instead of allowing our minds to wander uncontrollably, mindfulness invites us to observe our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings with a sense of curiosity and non-judgment. This practice trains us to see things clearly, without getting caught up in them, and allows us to approach life with a calm, composed mindset. Imagine for a moment, you're at work, feeling the stress of a deadline approaching. Instead of spiraling into panic or frustration, mindfulness allows you to pause, take a breath, and approach the situation with clarity, making better decisions and reducing the emotional burden. Another incredibly powerful practice is meditation. Now, before you think that meditation is only for monks or advanced spiritual practitioners, let me clarify: meditation is for everyone, and it can be as simple as taking just 5 minutes a day to sit quietly and observe your breath. The key to meditation is not about forcing the mind to be still, it's about letting go of the need to control it. Meditation helps to quiet the noise in our minds, reducing the constant chatter that often leads to stress. And just like mindfulness, consistency is crucial. Whether it's through mindful breathing, loving kindness meditation, or observing your thoughts without attachment, these simple acts can gradually build emotional resilience. Picture this: you're feeling anxious, your thoughts are racing, and you don't know how to slow them down. A few minutes of meditation can help you regain control, returning you to a state of balance and calm, ready to face whatever challenges come your way. But there's more. Buddhism also teaches the importance of right action, a fundamental part of the Buddha's ethical code. Right action encourages us to live in harmony with others, making decisions that are not only good for us but also considerate of others. Think about how much stress arises from our relationships, from misunderstandings or conflicts with family, friends, or co-workers. When we practice right action, we make choices that promote kindness, respect, and understanding. These actions reduce tension, prevent unnecessary conflict, and contribute to healthier, more harmonious relationships. The positive energy we put out into the world comes back to us, creating a supportive environment where stress is less likely to take root. All these practices, mindfulness, meditation, and right action, are not just abstract ideas. They're real, tangible tools that can help you navigate the complexities of life with more ease and less stress. And the beauty of these tools is that they don't require radical changes to your life, they just require consistency, intention, and a willingness to be present with yourself. Now, I know what you're thinking. Life is busy, and it's hard to find the time for these practices. But here's the thing, it's not about how much time you spend, it's about the quality of the time you spend. A few minutes of mindfulness, a short meditation session, or a simple act of kindness can make a world of difference. The more you practice, the more you'll begin to notice the benefits. You'll start to feel more centered, less reactive, and more capable of handling whatever comes your way. The stresses of life will still be there, but you will be stronger, calmer, and more equipped to deal with them. So, if you're ready to make a change, start small. Take a deep breath. Be present. Practice mindfulness and meditation, and live with intention. Your stress doesn't have to control you. With the wisdom of Buddhism, you can find peace amidst the chaos, calm amidst the storm. And remember, the path to emotional peace isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Each step you take toward mindfulness, each moment you spend in meditation, brings you closer to a life of balance, harmony, and emotional freedom. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the pressures of daily life. We're constantly juggling responsibilities, managing relationships, and striving to meet expectations. But what if I told you that Buddhism offers a simple yet powerful way to navigate this chaos and find peace? The wisdom of Buddhism isn't something reserved for monks or ancient texts, it's something that can be practiced by anyone, anywhere, at any time. Let's dive into how you can apply Buddhist teachings to your everyday life and, in doing so, cultivate a sense of calm and emotional balance. The key to integrating Buddhist wisdom into our busy, modern lives lies in small, intentional actions. These may seem simple at first, but their impact over time can be profound. Take, for example, the act of pausing before reacting to a stressful situation. We all know how easy it is to get caught up in the heat of the moment, whether it's a confrontation at work, an argument with a loved one, or a difficult decision we must make. But by taking just a moment to breathe, to center ourselves, we give our minds the space to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. This simple practice of pausing, of taking a breath, is a direct application of mindfulness. It allows us to observe our emotions without immediately acting on them, helping us remain grounded and composed in the face of stress. Gratitude is another powerful tool in the Buddhist tradition that can transform our daily experience. It's easy to focus on what's missing in our lives, what we don't have, what we wish we could change, what hasn't gone the way we planned. But Buddhism teaches us to shift our perspective by focusing on what we do have, the blessings in our lives, no matter how small. When we make gratitude a daily practice, we begin to train our minds to appreciate the present moment and everything it offers, instead of constantly yearning for more. This shift in mindset doesn't just reduce stress, it fosters a deeper sense of contentment and peace. Another essential teaching of Buddhism is the reminder that everything is temporary. In the midst of stressful situations, it's easy to feel like our problems will last forever, that the weight of our challenges will never lift. But by reminding ourselves that nothing is permanent, neither the good nor the bad, we can develop a more balanced perspective. This doesn't mean that we dismiss our struggles or ignore our emotions, it simply means we don't let them define us. We acknowledge the impermanence of all things, knowing that even in the hardest of times, change is inevitable. This understanding can help us manage stress, knowing that no matter how difficult a situation might seem, it too shall pass. Now, you might be wondering, how can I apply all of this in my busy, everyday life? The truth is, it doesn't require grand gestures or hours of meditation. It's about integrating small moments of mindfulness, compassion, and understanding into our daily routines. For instance, the next time you're stuck in traffic, instead of fuming with frustration, you can take a few deep breaths, center yourself, and remind yourself that this moment is temporary. If you find yourself feeling overwhelmed with tasks at work, you can pause for a moment to express gratitude for the opportunity to learn and grow. Or, when a difficult conversation arises with a loved one, you can respond with compassion, remembering that they, too, are navigating their own challenges. Buddhism teaches us that stress does not define us. It's a part of life, but it's not something we have to let control us. Through the practices of mindfulness, gratitude, and compassion, we can reduce the impact stress has on our lives and find the peace that resides within us. The Buddha's path isn't just for monks or for those living in ancient times. It's something we can all practice today, in our modern lives, as we work to navigate the challenges we face. So, the next time stress knocks on your door, I invite you to try these Buddhist tools. Take a breath before reacting, practice gratitude, and remind yourself that everything is temporary. You'll notice a shift in your perspective, a sense of calm where there was once chaos. Remember, the path to inner peace isn't about perfection, it's about progress. With each mindful breath, each act of kindness, each moment of gratitude, you are moving closer to a life of balance and serenity. Thank you for watching, and may your journey towards calmness and peace be filled with wisdom.